Hey, what's up guys? Brian Ellwood. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the hilarious story around the very first real estate deal I ever did, okay? So I got out of corporate America. I was sick of that. I wanted to find something new, but I needed a job just for a short period of time. So I went and got a job at this grocery store in my neighborhood, and I was the produce guy, and I was like hydrating the lettuce and making the apples look all shiny and cool, right? And then I met this young guy who kept coming into the store who was a house flipper, and he agreed to mentor me. He taught me how to drive around, write down the addresses of ugly houses and send them a yellow letter, which is just a letter on yellow paper that says, hey, I want to buy your house at 123 Main Street. I start sending out these letters. Some calls start coming in. I'm like running to the bathroom of the grocery store in my apron, locking the door, nervously talking to these sellers, and I have no idea what to say or how much to offer them, right? So I'm really confused. And a lady called in one time and she said, there's a guy that's been living in my house. He's not paying rent. He's addicted to drugs. I want to sell it. I want to be done with this. And I want $70,000, I think she said. So I hang up the phone, immediately called my mentor, and he said, all right, that we might be able to do this one, Brian. This might be the first deal that you find for me, but I need you to go get pictures. And I'm really excited, really nervous. And so I called the lady back and I scheduled a time to go over there and get the pictures of that house, hoping that I would show them to this guy and he would buy them. And I thought like he was going to pay me a finder's fee or something, right? So I get there and there's like this really scary pit bull chained up in the front yard, probably was mistreated, right? And so I have to go like down the side of the yard, like sprinting just out of the reach of his chain. And the tenant, like, I guess heard the commotion. He comes out. I'm still like far away because of the dog. And, I yell to him kind of like, what's going on? I need to come take pictures. We're looking to buy this house. And he immediately gets pissed off. And he says, I'm not going to let you in here unless you come back with something for me. I said, what do you want? He said, I want you to bring me Burger King breakfast. Okay. So I took his order from like a yard away, not a yard like 3 feet, like an entire front yard away. And then I drive to Burger King in this old truck I had barely any money, but I'm like spending it to buy this guy Burger King breakfast. And then I got back to the house and I had a bag full of like sausage biscuits and hash browns. And I had a little tray, like a drink holder they gave me with orange juice and coffee on it. And now the tenant's inside and I've got to get to the front door. So I literally like sprinted down the side of the yard. I had to get past this one area where the dog could get me before I could get out of reach and get to the door. And I'm like hurtling like a football player hurdles, with my legs just out of reach of this pit bull, right? And then I made it to the front door. The tenant I gave him the breakfast. He still kind of let me in reluctantly. He was still acting kind of pissed off, probably because he knew that his free living was possibly coming to an end. And I took some shitty pictures. I didn't really know what I was doing kind of quickly. And then I got out of there. And then I showed the pictures to my mentor. And he was like, I probably didn't need those pictures because I just realized that house is probably a tear down anyways. I was like, dude, do you realize what I went through to get these pictures? I didn't really say that, right? Because I was so new and so scared. I just wanted a deal to happen, right? And so anyways, I ended up putting him in touch with the lady that owned that house. And then a few weeks later, they arranged the closing and he bought the house. And then he invites me to lunch. He's like, hey, we bought that house. I want to take you to lunch. I'm like, hell yeah. I met him at this little Indian restaurant and he kind of smiles. He whips out a checkbook and he, on the table, starts scribbling on it. He tore the check off and he slid it across to me. And I looked at it and it said my name and $1,000. So I got a $1,000 finder's fee for finding him that deal. And I was blown away. Like I didn't really expect that. And I had really, even though that deal was scary as hell, I had only put like maybe 3 hours or so of actual clock time into that deal, even though I worried about it for much longer than that. And so I'm like, dude, I just made, $1,000 in 3 hours. That's $333 an hour. And his business partner was at lunch too. And she said, imagine if you did this all the time. And that's kind of when a light bulb went off. And I realized that instead of making $9 an hour at the grocery store, there were definitely much more high leverage activities that I could be spending my time on, where the ceiling of what I could earn was way higher. I also had never earned any kind of a paycheck like that before on my own. I'd always had a official job with a boss, at a company. I'd never gone out and hustled up my own money at all, really. I mean, aside from sealing some driveways and cutting some grass in high school, right? But this was $1,000. I don't even think I had gotten a check that large all at once at that time. Because even in my corporate job, I'd made 30-something thousand a year. It was crappy as far as pay goes, right? So I was blown away. And I ended up quitting my job at the grocery store and finding deals for that guy full time. Okay. And in a full year of doing it, I found him a total of 9 deals. So I got $9,000. So that was literally my income. My first year as a real estate investor was $9,000. I remember my tax return. I was below the poverty line, right? I even went into some additional credit card debt to help pay for stuff. But to this day, it was the best decision I ever made to really just jump in with both feet, because everything exploded from there on out. And, so if you guys are scared and you're not sure if you want to jump in and do something like this, I realized that I had the ability to do it and take more risk than you might have. I know you might be in a situation where you definitely cannot make $9,000 a year, right? I was in a situation where I had a really low mortgage payment, really low expenses. My wife was, helping me with groceries and some of the things, some of the money. And I think she might have even been splitting the mortgage payment with me because we lived together. So I had a unique situation in time. Okay. However, I still coach people who have families and they have all those things that they could lose, right? And they still formulate plans to be able to make the leap into being an entrepreneur. And it's really helpful to have your plan A, I'm going to do this and it's all going to work out. And then also have a plan B, if this doesn't work, here's what I'm going to go do. And then a plan C, if both of those plans don't work, here's my absolute last ditch, fallback strategy. And the funny part for most people is that their plan C is actually to go get a job, which is exactly where they are right now. Okay. Most of the people I talk to, I'm like, let's say you quit your job and this thing didn't work out. Could you go back and get your old job back or get another job like it? And everyone says, yeah, I probably could do that. Right. So that's their plan C when we work together. And that's also where they are right now. So if your rock bottom is where you currently are, that is something to think about, because taking that risk might not be quite as risky as you think. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I will see you on the next video. Peace.